Hi guys, and welcome back to 99 Lifestyle. Today I'm so excited to share with you my 9 tips and tricks on how to declutter your stuff. Now, I was able to declutter the stuff that was actually here in my background, and I'm so excited to share them with you because I finally disregarded the stuff that I don't use anymore. Now, that's the first tip, is remove the stuff that you don't use anymore at all. Like, they have no purpose. And I wanted to share that because the things that were actually back here were old DVDs, and we barely use DVDs, or a lot of us don't actually have DVD players anymore. Unless maybe you have a PS4 there, then yes, you don't play it anymore on your television or TV or your PC. You don't actually use it anymore. So why not disregard them or keep them in a storage place where they actually could last the test of time? But other than that, I was able to disregard them and replace them with stuff that are actually worth displaying, which are my bags. Now, they're not yet complete. I'm still figuring out on the gist on how to display them there, and I still have a couple more, and I won't be able to display them here, so it's not enough. But I was able to disregard stuff that I don't use anymore at all. Like, there's no possibility to use them anymore unless there's a specific occasion that you really want to use the DVDs. But like I said, that's the first tip, is to disregard the stuff that you don't use anymore at all. Second to that is actually disregard the stuff that are actually things that you haven't used for 2 years. Now, that's why they're different from the first one, is because those kind of 2 years specific kind of items are things that are maybe a makeup item that you don't use for 2 years anymore. Then disregard those. But if you did use them within the 2 year span, then best keep it. Or if you really love the makeup item, then best keep it. So that's the next step, is actually things that you haven't used for 2 years, because those specific 2 years, there are things or specific things that you can use, and there are things that they have a limit. If you haven't used them within those 2 years, they actually don't have any purpose anymore, because that's enough space or span of time that you can actually figure out if they're worth keeping. Because if it's just a year, there are specific items that you actually want to use still within the year that you haven't used within the year. So that's a specific thing that I really wanted to keep as a guideline, because there are items that I actually use but not use within a year, but I did use the next year. So I did figure out to keep that as an advice. And the next one is actually disregard the stuff that are ruined, destroyed, garbage. Literally garbage. Disregard them because you're not gonna use them anymore. Specific stuff that are ruined that you can disregard are sample of clothes. I do edit my clothes or my closet once in a while, and I was able to disregard so many stuff that are tattered, has holes on them. Some of them that has holes I do keep, especially those that are subtle and then I could use just for the house. But some of them are like way too much that don't look really nice. Even when you're at home, they don't look decent at all. So I disregard them. I have to remove them because they're not gonna help, or it's not doing anyone favors anymore. So that's best to disregard. Another item that I wanted to sample is the items that are gadgets. Now, gadgets are typical things that we have to keep, or we actually keep because we think that when we repair them, they are worth the investment to repair them. But no, there are so many gadgets like phones that are not worth keeping anymore, just because they're so old. What are you going to use them for? They have no value. You're just spending more money for something that's very outdated. So that's the next one that I wanted you to figure out to keep in mind, is disregard items that are ruined anymore, that have no chance anymore to be awakened again, to refurbish again. So now the next one is disregard the items that are, papers, document papers kind of things. Like what I'm talking about documents is there are sometimes we have extra documents that we actually don't need anymore. And my secret tip on those kind of items, like the papers, if they're like some of them have information about it but you really don't need anymore, but you really want to disregard it, is use them as, for the ladies specifically, use them as something to disregard your special lady necessities, like your napkins, your liners. If you want to decently disregard or dispose those items, wrap them in a paper, and then they will neatly be in the garbage. They won't really like expose too much of the stench, and it's really nice to look at. It looks more decent than throwing your used napkin open, like there's some of your residue there. So it's not really nice, it's not pretty or hygienic to look at. So it's best to wrap them in a paper. Now, I did stock of a lot of old papers, and then I kept them in one side beside my bathroom, and I'm able to just wrap there, or any garbage things that I need to wrap. I have them there. They're neatly there stacked, although it's still not as nice because they are just like showing, but it is in one area that I can literally dispose slowly the garbage or the old papers that I don't need anymore. So the old papers you actually don't need anymore as well are old test papers. Old test papers are things you don't really need, because why would you still need them? I mean, what's the purpose of them? So best is to disregard old test papers, old books that you don't really need anymore. And so the next one is with regards to books, or like test papers or grade papers that are actually usable, is donate them. That's another tip, is donate them to people that actually can use it. Now, there are so many people, so many kids that can actually use your old grade school books, old high school books, because they'll be able to educate themselves. So it's best to donate them there. Give it to someone that actually can use it, that will actually be of use to them. So you can disregard things that you don't use anymore, and they have things that they can use. Other things that you can actually disregard as well are old toys. Now, you don't need old toys anymore. I mean, if ever you're saying that for your future kids or whatever, no, because I'm sure you're going to spoil your kids with the toys that you have. The toys that you want to buy them new toys like that. So disregard them, or donate them also to kids, because they'll probably enjoy your old toys even if they're slightly used or used a lot. The other people would still be happy to have them, because they don't have much, and especially during this lockdown, why do we need them? Especially if we don't have kids anymore, if you're not a kid anymore, why would you still keep it if you're not playing with it? So other kids would actually enjoy them. During this lockdown, a lot of people are trying to figure out what makes them happy, what could make them happy. So why not figure out on something that you can do to give to people? If you can't really give money, then give to people about other items that you can use. And the next one is another thing that you can donate actually is clothes that you literally don't use as well. Clothes that are too tight, that there's no chance for you to literally use them because you've outgrown them like you were so young and you still like this beautiful shirt, but you've outgrown the shirt already. So those are things that you need to donate already. Disregard, bye, let it go. So the next one is very painful, are unappealing furnitures. Furnitures that literally are unappealing, and they're of not use anymore. They're not of use anymore. I kind of forgot. But yeah, furnitures that you really don't use anymore. I mean, and especially if they're not pleasing. Now, I'm so happy that when we bought this cabin, it's actually a pleasing color. Although I would still prefer it to be white. But other than that, it's fine. I like it. It's so pretty. It makes my lighter color bags pop more. But other than that, those displeasing furnitures or ruined furnitures, or like old chairs that are like moldy or falling apart, you have to let go of them. You have to disregard them, because they're not going to be of help to you or to your back, because it's going to give you more backache, especially chairs. But like tables like have big cracks already, and you can't use them for like storages, like in a hidden place, then disregard them. It's time to say goodbye to them, because they're not going to be of use anymore. And so the next one is use your old storages to keep out things that you actually need to keep, like special documents that you need to keep. Use your old storages, like specifically like your Orocan or plastic storages. Use them to keep those hidden stuff. You hide those storages. Hide those things that you can keep in a storage, and then just lock them away, disregard them already. So that's another tip. Disregard, use your old storages, unappealing storages, and keep the things that are kind of important but you don't really need to display them in your house. So that's another thing. And another tip part of that storage is keep boxes that actually could help your storage space, could add to your storage space, because boxes are very helpful. I know some of other people might disagree, but if those boxes are like big enough that could keep a lot of storages, keep them because they'll be helpful in your storage room. You have to keep your storage there, like unappealing stuff like old boxes that you can keep. We don't really put things in our attic. We mainly put them in our bodega. So that's actually very helpful to keep old big boxes. Now, this one is a box that I will still keep because it has sentimental value. And that's the next one, is keep specific things that have sentimental value. I mean, I know that you have maybe a lot of sentimental value, but keep in mind the things are actually very useful. There are specific things that you don't need anymore that has sentimental value. There's one more item that I would like to sample. Is there's this like vintage game, like it's really small. I kind of kept it somewhere that could be displayed, still not is disregarded, but somewhere else that you can't really see. But you can keep those, like those old vintage games, because technically they're not mine, so I can't really throw them away. But I did keep them because I know it has a big sentimental value to my family. So that's one thing, that's another example to keep, is sentimental values. So especially old plates. Oh my gosh, old plates. You have to figure out what are plates, or especially here in the Philippines, it's technically a very, very common deed that whenever someone gets married, most of the gifts are plates, collection of plates, and you have to figure out if there are things that are worth keeping or worth giving away, because you can't really have enough plates. I mean there's too much plates, and unless you're going to display them organized in a beautiful way, then you have to let them go. You have to just accept it. You have to let them go. Okay? And then the final one is keep something, or keep the things that you actually really, really love. Now, there are so many favorites. There are so many things that we have favorites because we really, really love them. We really enjoy them. Now, those are worth keeping. Those are worth things that you really, really want to hold on to, So you have to figure out if there are things that you really love it, but you can't use it, and you really love it and you use it. So there's a difference between those, and you have to let them go. If you want some of them, maybe you can resell, and that would be actually helpful. That would actually help you guys and figure out what you actually need and what you actually love, because there are things that are worth keeping because you love them and that's your favorite. And that's about it, you guys. I hope you like this video, and if you do, please like and subscribe down below. I hope these guidelines are simple enough that you can actually practice slowly decluttering the stuff in your closet or in your room or in your house. And I hope to see you in the next video. Bye! See ya!